Hey there, beautiful souls tuning in from across the states and beyond. Picture this, a sun-drenched vineyard in Napa Valley, rows of grapevines stretching endlessly under a golden California sky, the air buzzing with the excitement of a wedding day. The bride's dress sparkles, the guests are whispering, and every detail is perfect, except for one heart-pounding secret that could unravel it all. What if the wedding planner, the one pulling every string to make this day flawless, is secretly falling for the groom? And what if, just maybe, he's starting to feel the same way? Welcome to my latest video. A wedding planner falls in love with the groom, before realizing he loves her too. I'm so thrilled you're here, because this story is going to grip your heart, twist your emotions, and keep you glued to your screen until the very last second. If you've ever wondered what happens when love sneaks into the one place it's not supposed to, or if you're just a hopeless romantic like me who can't resist a juicy love triangle, then you're in the right place. Stick with me, because I promise you're going to get the answers to the questions burning in your mind right now. Why is she falling for him? Does he really love her back? And what happens when the truth comes crashing down? Let's dive into this irresistible tale together, and I'll guide you through every heart-fluttering moment. You know that feeling when your heart races and your stomach flips because you've met someone who just gets you? That's where our story begins, with Emily Harper, a 32-year-old wedding planner from Seattle who's built a reputation for crafting dream weddings that leave everyone in tears of joy. Emily's the kind of woman who notices the little things, the way a couple's hands intertwine, the nervous laugh of a groom before he says, "I do," or the perfect shade of peony for a bride's bouquet. She's got a smile that lights up a room and a knack for making every couple feel like their love story is the only one that matters. But here's the thing about Emily. She's spent so much time planning other people's happily ever afters that she's forgotten what it feels like to chase her own. Her days are filled with color swatches, seating charts, and vendor calls. But her nights? They're quiet, lonely, with just a glass of Pinot Grigio and her tabby cat, Muffin, for company. You might be thinking, Emily sounds like she's got it all together. And yeah, she does, on the outside. But deep down, she's yearning for something more, something real, something that makes her feel alive. And that's exactly what's about to walk into her life in the form of Ethan Caldwell, the groom of her latest high-profile wedding. Ethan's everything you'd expect from a leading man. Charming with a dimpled smile that could melt ice, eyes that seem to hold 1,000 stories, and a laugh that makes you want to lean in closer. He's a 35-year-old architect from San Francisco, marrying his college sweetheart, Lauren, in what's supposed to be the wedding of the year. But there's a spark in Ethan's gaze when he talks to Emily, a lingering look that feels like it's meant just for her. And that, my friends, is where the trouble starts. Have you ever felt a connection with someone that you knew was dangerous but couldn't resist? That's the tightrope Emily's walking, and you're going to want to see every step she takes. Now, let's talk about you for a second, because I know why you clicked on this video. Maybe you're curled up on your couch in Chicago, sipping coffee and dreaming of a love story that sweeps you off your feet. Or perhaps you're in Miami, scrolling through YouTube late at night, craving a tale that makes your heart race and your mind wonder, what would I do in her shoes? Whoever you are, wherever you're watching from, I see you, and I'm here to tell you that this story is for you. It's for anyone who's ever fallen for the wrong person at the wrong time, or who's wondered if fate could be cruel and kind all at once. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into Emily's world, feeling her hopes, her fears, and her forbidden butterflies every time Ethan's near. And I'm not going to leave you hanging. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how this tangled love story unfolds, and trust me, it's going to be worth every second. But to get there, you've got to stay with me, because this isn't just a story about love, it's about choices, secrets, and the moments that change everything. Imagine being Emily, standing in a bustling wedding venue, clipboard in hand, while the man you're falling for is about to walk down the aisle with someone else. Can you feel the weight of that? The way your chest tightens, the way you tell yourself to focus on the job but can't stop stealing glances at him? That's the atmosphere we're diving into. A world of elegance and chaos, where every rose petal and champagne flute hides a deeper truth. And I'm going to make sure you feel every beat of it, because you deserve a story that doesn't just entertain but pulls you in like you're part of it. Let's set the stage a little more, because this wedding isn't just any wedding. It's a spectacle, trending on social media with hashtags like hashtag Lauren and Ethan Forever and hashtag Wedding Goals. Set in a sprawling estate in the Hamptons, it's got all the makings of a fairy tale. Crystal chandeliers, a string quartet, and a cake that looks like it belongs in a museum. Emily's been working on this for months, pouring her heart into every detail, from the hand-calligraphed invitations to the custom cocktail menu. She's met Ethan and Lauren dozens of times for planning sessions, and each meeting has chipped away at her professional armor. Ethan's not like other grooms she's worked with. He's thoughtful, asking about her day, noticing when she's stressed, and cracking jokes that make her laugh a little too hard. There was that one moment, oh, you'll love this, when they were sampling desserts, and a bit of frosting ended up on Emily's cheek. Ethan reached out, his fingers brushing her skin as he wiped it away, and for a split second, the world stopped. Lauren was right there, laughing it off, but Emily felt her heart lurch. Was it just her imagination, or did his touch linger? You're probably wondering, is Ethan really into her, or is Emily reading too much into it? That's the mystery we're unraveling, and I'm not going to spoil it yet, but I will say this. Love has a way of sneaking up when you least expect it, and it doesn't always play by the rules. Lauren, the bride, is no villain either. She's a successful marketing exec, poised and kind, the kind of woman you'd want as your best friend. But there's a distance between her and Ethan, a subtle crack in their perfect picture that only Emily seems to notice. And that crack is about to widen. Here's where I need you to lean in, because this story isn't just about Emily and Ethan, it's about the big questions we all wrestle with. What do you do when your heart wants something you can't have? How do you choose between duty and desire? And what happens when you realize the person you're falling for might feel the same way, but saying it out loud could ruin everything? These are the themes that'll keep you hooked, because they're not just Emily's struggles, they're ours too. Maybe you've been in a situation where you had to hide your feelings, or maybe you're just addicted to stories that make you feel alive. Either way, I'm talking directly to you, and I'm promising you this. If you keep watching, you're going to get the answers you came for. You'll find out if Emily risks it all for a chance at love, if Ethan's feelings are real, and what happens when the wedding day arrives with secrets bubbling under the surface. But to get there, you've got to stick with me through every twist and turn, because this story is like a roller coaster. You don't want to jump off before the big drop. And trust me, the drop is coming. I've crafted this tale to keep you guessing, to make you feel like you're right there with Emily as she navigates this impossible situation. You're not just a viewer, you're my partner in this journey, and I'm counting on you to see it through. Now, let's crank up the tension a bit. It's 3 days before the wedding, and Emily's at the venue, double-checking the floral arrangements. Ethan shows up unexpectedly, saying he needs to discuss the vows. They're alone in the garden, the air thick with the scent of jasmine, and he starts talking. Not about the vows, but about how he's been questioning everything. Have you ever felt like you're living the life everyone expects, but it's not yours? He asks, his voice low, his eyes searching hers. Emily's heart is pounding, because she knows exactly what he means, but she can't say it. She's the wedding planner, not the bride. She's supposed to be invisible, professional, untouchable. But the way he's looking at her, the way his voice softens when he says her name, it's undoing her. You're probably screaming at the screen right now. Emily, say something. Or maybe, Ethan, what are you doing? And that's exactly how I want you to feel. Tangled up in their story, desperate to know what happens next. Because in that moment, with the wedding looming and their hearts on the line, something shifts. Emily sees a flicker of something in Ethan's eyes, regret, longing, maybe even love. But before she can process it, Lauren calls, and Ethan's face changes, like a door slamming shut. He leaves, and Emily's left standing there, her mind racing with questions. Did she misread him? Is he unhappy with Lauren? And why can't she shake the feeling that this wedding might not go as planned? I know you're dying to know what happens next, and I'm not going to make you wait forever. But you've got to keep watching. This is where the story gets juicy, where secrets spill and hearts break, and I'm going to walk you through every moment. You're my VIP guest in this love story, and I'm not letting you go until you've seen it all. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's find out together if Emily and Ethan's spark is just a fleeting moment or the start of something that could change their lives forever. But here's the kicker. On the morning of the wedding, just as Emily's putting the final touches on the ceremony, she finds a note slipped under her door. It's in Ethan's handwriting, and it says, "We need to talk before it's too late." What does he mean? Is he calling off the wedding? Or is something even bigger about to unravel? Hit that play button, because you're not going to want to miss what happens next. You're still with me, right? Good, because we're just getting to the juicy part, and I need you by my side as we peel back the layers of this tangled love story. That note from Ethan, slipped under Emily's door with those cryptic words, "We need to talk before it's too late," is burning a hole in her mind as she stands in the bustling chaos of the Hamptons estate, surrounded by florists, caterers, and the hum of pre-wedding excitement. It's the morning of the big day, and the air feels electric, not just with the promise of a perfect wedding but with the weight of secrets that could unravel everything. Emily's hands tremble as she tucks the note into her pocket, her heart caught between hope and dread. What does Ethan want to say? Is he about to confess something that could change her life? Or is this just another innocent request from a stressed-out groom? You're probably feeling the same knot in your stomach that Emily is, wondering if this is the moment where everything shifts. But let's slow down and dig deeper, because this story isn't just about that one note. It's about the lives, choices, and hidden truths that brought Emily, Ethan, and everyone around them to this pivotal moment. Grab a cozy blanket, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's step back to understand the world we're in, because every detail is about to pull you further into this irresistible drama. Emily Hopper didn't always dream of being a wedding planner. Growing up in a small town outside Seattle, she was the girl who sketched wildflower fields in her notebook and wrote poetry about love she hadn't yet experienced. Her parents, high school sweethearts who ran a local bakery, filled her head with stories of romance and forever, but their own marriage crumbled when Emily was 16, leaving her with a fractured view of happily ever after. She moved to the city after college, determined to build a life that felt meaningful, and stumbled into wedding planning almost by accident when a friend begged her to organize a last-minute ceremony. Emily's knack for turning chaos into magic made her a star in the industry, but every wedding she plans is a bittersweet reminder of the love she hasn't found. Now, at 32, she's at the top of her game, with a waiting list of clients and a reputation for pulling off miracles, but there's a quiet ache in her chest that no amount of success can fill. You might relate to that feeling, pouring your heart into your work, your friends, your life, but still wondering when it's your turn to feel seen. That's where Emily is when she meets Ethan and Lauren, and it's why her connection with Ethan hits her so hard. It's not just his charm or his dimpled smile, it's the way he seems to see past her professional facade, noticing the real her in a way no one else has. But there's more to Emily's story than meets the eye. Her best friend, Mia, a fiery photographer who shoots all her weddings, has been noticing Emily's late-night wine sessions and distracted sighs. Mia's been pushing Emily to date, to open her heart, but Emily brushes it off, saying she's too busy. What Mia doesn't know, and what Emily barely admits to herself, is that this wedding is stirring something dangerous, something that could upend not just her career but her entire sense of who she is. Have you ever had a friend who saw through your excuses, who knew you were hiding something even from yourself? That's Mia, and she's about to become a key player in this unfolding drama. Let's shift to Ethan for a moment, because his side of the story adds a whole new layer of intrigue. Ethan Caldwell grew up in a polished San Francisco family, where expectations were as high as the city's skyscrapers. His parents, a surgeon and a lawyer, groomed him for success, and he delivered. Graduating top of his class, landing a job at a prestigious architecture firm, and proposing to Lauren, his college girlfriend, in a picture-perfect moment on a cliff overlooking the Pacific. On paper, Ethan's life is a Pinterest board come to life, but there's a restlessness in him that he's never dared to voice. You know those moments when you look at your life and think, this is everything I wanted, so why do I feel like something's missing? That's Ethan, standing on the edge of his wedding day, wondering if he's truly happy or just following a script someone else wrote. Lauren is everything he thought he wanted. Smart, driven, beautiful. But their late-night talks have turned into logistical discussions about careers and mortgages, and the spark that once defined them feels like a distant memory. When Ethan meets Emily, it's not love at first sight, but it's something, a jolt of recognition, like finding a song you didn't know you needed to hear. Her warmth, her quiet strength, the way she listens when he rambles about his designs. It's waking something in him, and it's terrifying. That moment in the garden, when he asked her if she's ever felt trapped by expectations, wasn't just a casual question. It was a crack in his carefully built walls. But Ethan's not a free man, and the weight of his commitment to Lauren, his family, and the life he's built is pressing down on him. You're probably wondering, is he going to break Lauren's heart? Or is he just confused? That's the question hanging in the air, and it's why that note he left for Emily feels like a ticking time bomb. Now let's bring Lauren into focus, because she's not just the other woman in this love triangle. She's a force in her own right, and her perspective adds a twist you didn't see coming. Lauren Bennett is a 34-year-old marketing executive who's climbed the corporate ladder with grit and grace, balancing high-stakes campaigns with a social calendar that would exhaust anyone. To the outside world, she's the perfect bride, glowing in her Vera Wang gown and charming every guest with her quick wit. But beneath the surface, Lauren's grappling with doubts of her own. She loves Ethan, Or at least, she loves the version of him she fell for in college, when they were two dreamers sneaking kisses in the library. But the past few years have stretched them thin, with her long hours and his late nights at the drafting table pulling them in different directions. Lauren's noticed Ethan's distraction, the way he seems to light up around Emily in a way he hasn't with her in months. She tells herself it's just wedding stress, but there's a nagging fear she can't shake. What if Ethan's having second thoughts? You might be thinking, does Lauren know about Emily's feelings? And that's where things get murky. Lauren's not blind, she's caught the glances, the lingering moments, but she's also not the type to confront without evidence. Instead, she's thrown herself into the wedding, determined to make it perfect, as if flawless details can fix a faltering heart. There's a subplot brewing here, one that involves Lauren's older sister, Claire, who's flown in from Boston and has a knack for sniffing out trouble. Claire's protective, blunt, and not afraid to call things as she sees them, and she's starting to suspect that something's off with this picture-perfect wedding. Claire's presence is like a spark near dry grass, and her questions could ignite a confrontation no one's ready for. As if that weren't enough, there's another layer of mystery weaving through this story, one that ties back to the wedding itself. The Hamptons estate where the ceremony's taking place has a history, whispered about by the staff in hushed tones. Decades ago, a wedding held here ended in scandal when the groom vanished hours before the vows, leaving the bride humiliated and the guests in chaos. The story's become local legend, and some say the estate is cursed, doomed to test the hearts of every couple who marries there. Emily, practical as she is, laughs off the rumors, but there's something about the place. The creaking floors, the way the light filters through the old stained glass windows, that makes her feel like she's being watched. You're probably wondering if this curse is just superstition or if it's somehow tied to the tension between Emily, Ethan, and Lauren. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say this. Strange things keep happening. A misplaced ring, a torn veil, and now Ethan's note. They're small enough to dismiss, but they're piling up, and Emily's starting to wonder if the universe is trying to tell her something. Mia, ever the skeptic, thinks it's all in Emily's head, but she's noticed the way the staff avoids certain rooms, and she's itching to dig into the estate's past. This subplot adds a shiver of intrigue, making you question whether the real danger is the love triangle or something bigger, something no one can control. Let's zoom out for a second and talk about you, because I know you're invested now. You're probably sitting there, maybe in a cozy apartment in Austin or a bustling coffee shop in New York, picturing yourself in Emily's shoes, wondering what you'd do with that note. Would you read it and confront Ethan, risking everything? Or would you tuck it away, pretending it never happened? That's what makes this story so addictive. It's not just about them. It's about us, about the choices we make when our hearts and heads are at war. I'm here with you, guiding you through this roller coaster, and I promise we're building to something huge. You're not just watching a YouTube video, you're living this story, feeling every glance, every hesitation, every heartbeat. The tension's only going to climb from here, with more secrets, more stakes, and more moments that'll leave you gasping. But we're not at the answers yet, because good stories don't rush, they simmer, pulling you deeper until you can't look away. Right now, Emily's standing in the bridal suite, the note heavy in her pocket, as Lauren slips into her dress and Ethan's voice echoes from the hall. The wedding's hours away, and the air feels like it's holding its breath. Then, just as Emily's about to steal a moment alone, Claire corners her, eyes sharp and voice low. "You're hiding something," she says, "and I'm going to find out what it is." What does Claire know? And what's Ethan planning to say? Keep watching, my friend, because the next move could change everything. Alright, my friends, you're still here, and I'm so glad because things are about to get wild. We left off with Emily frozen in the bridal suite, Ethan's cryptic note burning a hole in her pocket, and Claire, Lauren's sharp-eyed sister, throwing down a challenge. "You're hiding something, and I'm going to find out what it is." The Hamptons estate is buzzing with wedding day energy. Guests arriving in their Sunday best, champagne flutes clinking, and the string quartet tuning up for the ceremony that's just hours away. But beneath the polished surface, the air feels like it's crackling with secrets, and Emily's heart is pounding so loud she's sure Claire can hear it. You're probably sitting there, maybe munching on popcorn in Denver or scrolling in a quiet moment in LA, wondering how Emily's going to wiggle out of this one. Is Claire onto her feelings for Ethan? Does she know about the note? And what's Ethan planning to say that's so urgent it can't wait until after the vows? Buckle up, because this chapter of our story is about to throw you for a loop with a twist that'll leave your jaw on the floor. We're diving deeper into the love triangle, the estate's eerie history, and a new revelation that raises the stakes higher than ever. I'm talking directly to you, my fellow romantics and drama lovers, because you're not just watching. You're living this story with me, and I promise you're going to want to stick around for every heart-stopping moment. Emily's mind is a whirlwind as she faces Claire, whose piercing gaze feels like it could cut through steel. The bridal suite is a flurry of activity. Lauren's adjusting her veil in the mirror, bridesmaids fussing over her train, and the makeup artist dabbing at last-minute touch-ups, but all Emily can focus on is Claire's accusation. She forces a smile, her voice steady despite the panic clawing at her chest, and says she's just stressed about the timeline. Claire doesn't buy it, but before she can press further, Lauren calls her over, and Emily slips out, her hand brushing the note in her pocket. She needs to find Ethan to understand what he meant by before it's too late. But the estate is a maze of guests and vendors, and every step feels like she's dodging landmines. You know that feeling when you're on the verge of something huge, but you're terrified of what it might cost? That's Emily right now, torn between her duty as a planner and the pull of her heart. She finally spots Ethan near the garden, looking impossibly handsome in his tux but with a tension in his shoulders that mirrors her own. Their eyes lock, and for a moment, it's like the world fades away. The chatter, the music, the weight of the wedding. But before she can reach him, Mia, her photographer friend, grabs her arm, whispering urgently, "Em, we've got a problem." Mia's been poking around the estate, digging into that old scandal about the groom who vanished decades ago, and she's found something chilling. A hidden room in the basement, filled with old letters and a faded photograph of a woman who looks eerily like Emily. Mia's half convinced it's just a creepy coincidence, but the discovery has her spooked, and she's starting to think the estate's curse might be more than a ghost story. You're probably thinking, wait, what? A hidden room? A doppelganger? And yeah, that's exactly the kind of twist that makes this story impossible to put down. Is the estate really cursed, or is someone, or something, playing tricks? Let's crank up the heat on the main conflict, because Ethan's note isn't the only thing shaking things up. As Emily follows Mia to the basement, her mind racing with questions about the photograph, she's unaware that Lauren's starting to unravel. Lauren's been putting on a brave face, but Claire's whispered warnings have planted seeds of doubt. She's noticed Ethan's distraction, the way he seems to gravitate toward Emily during planning sessions, and now she's replaying every moment in her head, wondering if she's been blind. Lauren's not the type to crumble. She's built a career on staying cool under pressure, but the thought that Ethan might be slipping away is cracking her polished exterior. She corners Ethan in the groom's suite, her voice low but sharp, asking why he's been so distant. Ethan's caught off guard, his mind clearly elsewhere, and his vague answers only fuel her suspicion. You can feel the tension, right? That moment when a couple's on the edge of a truth neither wants to face. Lauren doesn't mention Emily directly, but the question hangs in the air, and Ethan's silence speaks volumes. Meanwhile, Claire's not sitting idle. She's tailing Emily, convinced the wedding planner's hiding more than just stress. Claire's protective streak is fierce, and she's determined to protect her sister, even if it means blowing up the whole wedding. This subplot is like a powder keg, and every interaction is a spark that could set it off. You're probably wondering if Lauren will confront Emily, or if Claire will find the note before Emily can read it. The stakes are skyrocketing, and the clock's ticking toward the ceremony. Now, here comes the twist that's going to flip everything you thought you knew. Down in the basement, Emily and Mia are sifting through the dusty letters, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the stone walls. The photograph of the woman who looks like Emily is unsettling, but it's the letters that stop them cold. They're love letters, written by a groom named William in the 1950s, addressed to a woman who wasn't his bride. The words are desperate, full of longing and regret, and they hint at a plan to run away together, until the final letter where William writes, "I can't do this to her. Forgive me." Mia's eyes widen as she pieces it together. William was the groom who vanished, and the woman in the photograph, the one who looks like Emily, was his secret love. But here's the kicker. One of the letters mentions a locket, a family heirloom William gave his lover as a promise, and Emily's hand instinctively goes to her neck. She's been wearing a locket her whole life, a gift from her grandmother, who said it was passed down through generations. Could it be the same one? You're probably screaming at the screen. No way! Is Emily connected to this old scandal? And I'm right there with you, my heart racing as we uncover this mind-blowing link. The estate's history isn't just a spooky backdrop anymore. It's entwined with Emily's own past, and it's raising questions she's not ready to answer. Is this why she feels so drawn to Ethan? Is the curse somehow pulling her into a repeat of history? Let's weave in the subplots to keep the suspense simmering. Mia's discovery has her on edge, and she's urging Emily to tell someone about the letters, but Emily's too overwhelmed. She's juggling the wedding, Ethan's note, Claire's suspicions, and now this haunting connection to a decades-old mystery. Mia, ever the loyal friend, decides to keep digging, sneaking off to ask the estate's elderly caretaker about the scandal. The caretaker's cryptic warning, "Some secrets are better left buried," only fuels Mia's curiosity, and she's determined to uncover the truth, even if it puts her at odds with the staff. Meanwhile, Lauren's growing unease is pushing her toward a breaking point. She's starting to question not just Ethan but herself, wondering if she's been so focused on her career that she's lost sight of their love. There's a moment where she catches her reflection in the bridal suite mirror, her eyes brimming with unshed tears, and you can feel the weight of her fear. What if she's about to marry a man who's already halfway out the door? Claire's watching all this, her protective instincts in overdrive, and she's inches away from confronting Emily directly. The estate itself seems to be closing in, with flickering lights and strange noises that make everyone jumpy. You're probably feeling the same chill I am, wondering if the curse is real or if someone's orchestrating these eerie events to sabotage the wedding. I know you're hooked, my friend, because this story's got everything. Romance, mystery, betrayal, and a twist that's got us both reeling. You're out there, maybe in a cozy Chicago loft or a sunny Miami patio, picturing yourself in this whirlwind, wondering how you'd handle Emily's impossible choices. Would you open Ethan's note, risking your heart? Would you tell Lauren the truth, or keep it buried to save the wedding? I'm right here with you, guiding you through this drama, and I promise we're building to a climax that'll blow your mind. The tension's thicker than ever, with Emily clutching her locket, Claire closing in, and Ethan's unspoken words hanging like a storm cloud. But just when you think you've got a handle on things, another shock hits. As Emily heads back upstairs, she overhears Ethan on the phone, his voice low and urgent. "I can't keep pretending," he says. "I have to tell her today." Tell who? Lauren? Emily? And what truth is he about to unleash? Keep watching, because the next moment could tear this wedding, and everyone's hearts, apart. Here we are, my friends, at the heart-pounding finale of our story, and I'm so thrilled you've stuck with me through every twist and turn. We left Emily reeling, having overheard Ethan's cryptic phone call. "I can't keep pretending. I have to tell her today." As the Hamptons estate hums with the chaos of a wedding on the brink. The ceremony is moments away, with guests settling into their seats, the floral arch glowing under the late afternoon sun, and Emily's world teetering on the edge of collapse. That note from Ethan, still unread in her pocket, feels like a grenade, and Claire's suspicions are closing in like a vice. Mia's discovery of the hidden room, the eerie letters, and the locket tying Emily to a decades-old scandal have only deepened the mystery, making the estate feel like a living, breathing force in this drama. You're probably out there, maybe curled up in a cozy Atlanta living room or watching from a bustling Seattle cafe, your heart racing as you wonder, who's Ethan about to confess to? Will Emily risk everything for a chance at love? And is the estate's curse real, or just a shadow haunting her choices? This is it, the climax where secrets unravel, hearts break, and truths come to light, with a final twist that'll leave you speechless. I'm talking directly to you, my fellow dreamers and drama lovers, because you've been with me through this roller coaster, and I promise this ending will be worth every second. Let's dive into the resolution of A Wedding Planner Falls in Love with the Groom, before realizing he loves her too. And see how this unforgettable love story wraps up. Emily's barely holding it together as she moves through the estate, her clipboard a flimsy shield against the storm brewing inside her. The weight of Ethan's overheard words, "I have to tell her today," is crushing, and she knows she can't avoid the note any longer. She slips into a quiet corner of the garden, her hands shaking as she unfolds the paper. The words are simple but devastating. "Emily, I can't stop thinking about you. I need to know if you feel it too, before I make the biggest mistake of my life." Her breath catches, because there it is, the truth she's been dodging, the spark she's tried to bury. Ethan feels it too, and he's ready to append everything. You can imagine the whirlwind in her mind, right? The part of her that's dreamed of love screaming to run to him, and the part that's built a career on duty begging her to walk away. But before she can decide, Claire appears, her face a mask of barely contained fury. "I knew it," Claire hisses, revealing she's seen Emily with the note. She's pieced together enough to know Emily's crossed a line, and she's ready to tell Lauren everything. The confrontation is electric, with Claire accusing Emily of sabotaging her sister's happiness and Emily struggling to defend herself without betraying Ethan's secret. You're probably feeling the same panic I am, wondering if Claire's about to blow up the wedding in front of everyone. But just as Claire storms off to find Lauren, Mia rushes in, her eyes wide with a new discovery. She's been talking to the estate's caretaker, who revealed that the woman in the 1950s photograph, the one who looks like Emily, wasn't just William's lover, she was the wedding planner, and her locket, the one Emily wears, was a symbol of their forbidden love. The parallels are chilling, and Mia's convinced the estate's history is somehow guiding Emily's choices, like a cosmic echo of a love that never was. This revelation hits Emily like a tidal wave, making her question if her feelings for Ethan are hers or part of some destined replay. The climax explodes as the ceremony looms, and Ethan makes his move. He finds Emily in the chaos, pulling her into the estate's library, where the stained glass windows cast a kaleidoscope of light across their faces. His voice is raw, urgent, as he confesses he's been falling for her since their first meeting, that every moment with her feels more real than his life with Lauren. "I don't want to marry her," he says, his eyes searching hers. "But I need to know if you're with me." It's the moment you've been waiting for, the heart-stopping peak where Emily's choice will change everything. You can feel her turmoil, can't you? The longing to say yes, to chase the love she's craved, battling the guilt of betraying Lauren and her own principles. She's about to speak when Lauren bursts in, her face pale, Claire at her side. The air crackles with betrayal as Lauren reveals she overheard Ethan's confession, and the pain in her eyes is a knife to Emily's heart. Lauren's not just hurt, she's furious, accusing Emily of manipulating Ethan and Ethan of throwing away their history for a fleeting crush. The confrontation is a masterclass in raw emotion, with each character laying bare their truths. Ethan's admission that he's been unhappy for years, Lauren's fear that she's lost herself in their relationship, and Emily's tearful confession that she never meant to fall in love. You're probably gripping your phone, wondering if the wedding's off or if there's any way to salvage this mess. The estate itself seems to pulse with their pain, the lights flickering as if the curse is feeding on their chaos. But here's where the resolution begins to take shape, and it's not what you expect. Emily, overwhelmed by guilt and the weight of the locket's history, makes a choice that breaks her heart but feels right. She tells Ethan and Lauren she's stepping away, not just from the wedding but from their lives. "You need to figure this out without me," she says, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. She hands Ethan the note, a final gesture of honesty, and walks out, leaving them to face their fractured future. It's a gut-punch moment, one that honors her integrity but leaves you aching for her. Lauren and Ethan are left in the library, forced to confront the cracks in their relationship, and in a quiet, powerful scene, they decide to postpone the wedding. Lauren admits she's been running from her own doubts, and Ethan confesses he's been too afraid to chase what he truly wants. It's not a neat happily ever after, but it's real. A recognition that love sometimes means letting go to find clarity. The guests are sent home with apologies, the social media hashtags like #LaurenandEthanForever fading into silence, and Emily returns to Seattle, her locket tucked away as a reminder of a love she chose to release. Mia, ever her rock, is there to pick up the pieces, and her subplot wraps up with a touching moment where she gives Emily the old letters, urging her to write her own story instead of living someone else's. The estate's curse, it turns out, wasn't supernatural. It was the weight of unspoken truths, a lesson Emily carries forward. Now, just when you think the story's tied up, here's the final twist that'll leave you in awe. 6 months later, Emily's rebuilding her life, throwing herself into smaller, more personal weddings, finding joy in her work again. She's at a cozy vineyard wedding in Oregon, laughing with Mia over a glass of wine, when a familiar figure steps into the venue. It's Ethan, alone, his dimpled smile softer but still heart-stopping. He's not there by chance. He's been searching for her, not to rekindle what they had but to thank her for giving him the courage to start over. He and Lauren have parted ways, not with anger but with mutual respect, both pursuing lives that feel true to them. But the real shock comes when Ethan hands Emily a small envelope. Inside is a letter, not from him, but from Lauren, who's written to apologize for her anger and to thank Emily for forcing her to face the truth. "You didn't ruin us," Lauren writes. "You saved us from a lie." The letter ends with an invitation to visit her in New York, a gesture of forgiveness that leaves Emily, and you, speechless. Ethan doesn't stay long, but as he leaves, he looks back with a smile that says maybe, just maybe, their story isn't over. You're probably gasping, right? This twist flips the narrative, showing that love isn't just romantic. It's about growth, forgiveness, and the courage to choose yourself. As we wrap up, I want to talk to you, my incredible viewers, because this story's about more than Emily, Ethan, and Lauren. It's about us. Maybe you're in Miami, reflecting on a choice you made for love, or in Chicago, dreaming of a fresh start. Wherever you are, this tale reminds us that love is messy, beautiful, and sometimes found in letting go. The key takeaway? Be brave enough to face your truth, even when it hurts, because that's where real growth happens. The estate's so-called curse was just a mirror, reflecting the characters' fears until they chose honesty. Emily's journey, from a lonely planner to a woman who knows her worth, is a love letter to anyone who's ever felt stuck. Mia's loyalty, Lauren's resilience, Claire's protectiveness, they all show that every choice ripples, shaping the lives around us. I'm so grateful you've been with me, living this drama, feeling every heartbeat. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments. What would you have done in Emily's shoes? Keep chasing your own story, my friends, because it's the most epic adventure of all. Until next time, stay true, stay bold, and keep watching for more tales that make your heart race.